Hello everyone and welcome back to yet another Halo Infinite video. You guys tired of these yet?
Don't care. Just don't care anymore. Don't care.
And while I still have plenty of questions about Halo Infinite, and there are tons of things that we simply just have no information on, the information we've been getting recently is giving Halo Infinite endless amounts of potential. And I'm not talking about can we just be relevant again types of potential. I'm talking about the biggest game in the world types of potential. Sure, it's a long shot, and there are a lot of mishaps that could bury Halo in its final resting place. But if 343 does everything right, and with a little bit of luck, I truly believe Halo Infinite could end up being the most popular game in the entire world. The number one reason being the recent announcement that Halo Infinite multiplayer is going free to play, per this tweet right here. It only mentions Xbox Series X in the tweet, but I think it's fair to say that multiplayer is going to be free to play on Xbox One, Xbox Series X, and on PC. This already multiplies Halo's population tenfold. Seriously, I did the math on it. Whether you used to be a Halo fan, never heard of it, or haven't stopped playing since 2007, if you play first-person shooters, you'll most likely at least download and try the game. There is no barrier to entry. All the big streamers are going to be playing at launch, whether they're paid by Microsoft to do so, or they're just jumping on the newest hype train. Seeing your favorite streamers playing a new game will make you want to at least try the new game. And with a free entry point, there are going to be millions and millions of people unfamiliar with the Halo franchise that are going to give Infinite a go. Also, I'm not sure if this is 100% confirmed, but I believe Halo Infinite will feature crossplay between all platforms, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, and PC. The only confirmation I can seem to find is in the Steam product page, but crossplay is coming to the Master Chief Collection alongside input-based matchmaking, so I think it's fair to assume that this will be included in Halo Infinite as well. And I don't think I need to stress how important crossplay between all players on all platforms is for the ecosystem. Being able to play with any of your friends, or for streamers to play together regardless of platform, adds so much to the accessibility of the game. Interoperability between platforms was a huge reason for Fortnite's success, for Warzone's success, and I think it will be a huge aspect of Halo Infinite's success. Now, I don't necessarily believe this rumor to be true, but there was a potential leak last week that Halo Infinite will have a Battle Royale. I don't know how credible this is considering 343 has denied a Battle Royale for Infinite multiple times, and the leak was by a Japanese Halo Infinite page in, well, Japanese. And since I can't read Japanese, I don't know if this is just a translation error or whatnot. But the potential of a free Halo Battle Royale as a part of Infinite would really increase the chances of Infinite exploding in popularity. The Halo universe is seemingly the perfect setting for a Battle Royale, and Battle Royales are simply the best gaming genre to stream. There's plenty of action and hype moments for Twitter clips and YouTube videos, but there's also tons of downtime that streamers utilize to interact with their chat. And if the biggest names in gaming are playing your game, their fans are going to be playing as well, or at the very least are going to want to try it and they're going to want to like it. Speaking of Battle Royales, I think it's safe to say that people are tired of Fortnite. I haven't exactly followed Fortnite throughout its life, but it seems that there have been multiple seasons and iterations of Fortnite that the streamer and competitive communities have really hated. They've been getting increasingly frustrated at the goofy things that are added to the base game and how these skillless additions affect competitive matches. This is on top of the already frustrating RNG inherent in Battle Royale. I could see this being incredibly frustrating to deal with when competing for millions of dollars. Many Fortnite content creators moved on to Call of Duty Warzone once that came out, but frustrations are growing with that as well. Cheaters plague Warzone and make Warzone almost unplayable in some people's opinions. This could be the perfect time for a new esport to emerge. Something more controlled and methodical that almost plays like a mental chess match. An arena shooter, anyone? And how convenient that 343 already had an announcement that they are partnering with Esports Engine and are launching Halo Infinite with a 12-month roadmap for the Halo Championship Series full of all the events and locations with dates scheduled. Esports Engine is headed by Adam Apicella, who ran MLG back in the day when Halo was their flagship title. I don't know about you guys, but this is extremely promising to me. I'm not sure how much control Esports Engine will have, if 343 has the final say, or if Esports Engine has full reign of the competitive mode, but I'm really hoping for the latter. Everyone's worried about Sprint or the grapple hook, but if Esports Engine is in control of the competitive game types, you can rest assured that Adam and his team are going to work closely with the pros to make the most competitive game types possible, given the sandbox they are working with. And let's not forget how talented his team is at putting on events. Halo Infinite main stages are going to look as good as they come. Regardless of Halo Infinite's popularity or viewership, the pros competing are going to feel like professional gamers. I can promise you that there won't be pros tweeting out pictures laughing at how bad the venue is for the Halo World Championship. And speaking about the Halo World Championship, I think it's a given that Microsoft is going to throw millions and millions of dollars at the Halo Infinite prize pools. Bigger prize pools create more interest in HCS and more people competing, which leads to more content around the game, more people playing in general. The inaugural Halo World Championship had a $1 million prize pool that increased to $2.5 million with revenue from rec pack sales. I could see Microsoft starting the World Championship prize pool at $2.5 million and letting it increase with revenue from microtransaction sales. With Halo Infinite being the flagship title for the Series X launch, Microsoft will likely give a blank check to the HCS, willing to spend whatever it takes in order to get hype around the new title and its competitive scene. Also, with the game being free to play, I would assume it will have a season pass and direct purchase microtransactions, leaving open the opportunity to release a Halo World Championship cosmetic pack to help fund the prize pool. Another thing that could vastly help the pro scene grow in Infinite is to have tournament competition played on the PC platform and allow players to choose which input they want to use, keyboard and mouse or controller. I honestly don't see this happening since Halo Infinite launches alongside the Xbox Series X, so it would be really dumb of Microsoft and 343 to not have competitive be played on the new console. If it was on PC, there would literally be no reason to buy the Xbox Series X. But I know they're looking at bringing mouse and keyboard support for the Xbox One X version of MCC when they introduce Crossplay, so hopefully that feature will also come to the Series X. And with Halo Infinite multiplayer running at 120 FPS, PC players will have the option to use a keyboard and mouse on the Series X if they want to compete. And lastly, I want to touch on the open world single player. This part of the game is not going to be free, but it is part of the Game Pass subscription. In my last video I talked about the negatives of Halo going open world and why I personally am not that excited about it. However, I do acknowledge that an open world, if done right, leads to potential for a bigger, better, and more replayable campaign. With Infinite being a 10-year platform that they plan on expanding single player within, the possibilities are endless. If 343 can deliver on a vast open world Halo ring to explore, with rewarding side quests and hidden Easter eggs for lore fans, it really does provide much more incentive for people to play the game. This in turn could bring more fans into the franchise and have them continue replaying the campaign or become fans of multiplayer, helping grow the Halo ecosystem and popularity. Now, with all that being said, there are many different ways that the scenario I laid out for you can fall through. And the number one reason that Halo Infinite could flop is if the game sucks. Gameplay is king, and we simply have not seen multiplayer gameplay yet. We don't know what multiplayer will look like or how the equipment or abilities will look in the flow of multiplayer. We can infer from the campaign reveal how multiplayer will play, but until we see how it's structured and how it plays, we simply don't know. And nothing will kill this game quicker than if it isn't rewarding or fun to play. This is obviously extremely subjective, and everyone has their own shitty opinion on how Halo Infinite multiplayer should be, but it's 343's responsibility to make a fun game. Another potential problem would be if 343 rushed this game out before it's ready, missing key features such as Forge, Theater, Custom Games Browser, or if it comes out with any game-breaking bugs. With 343 saying they can no longer commit to a beta, I'm a little weary that a lot of polishing is going to be missed out on. It's simple math that a small studio testing for bugs just won't be able to do as thorough a job as hundreds of thousands of players testing your game. And with the announcement that Halo Infinite multiplayer will be free to play, my worst fear is that they use this as an excuse to put out a less than premium product. I really don't want to see them deem Infinite multiplayer as early access or in beta at release. With a free-to-play game in early access, 343 could potentially put out a bare-bones multiplayer and have the remaining features listed as coming soon. But this would be the quickest way to derail the Halo Infinite hype train. You only have one chance to make a first impression, and as we learned with the Master Chief Collection, if you wait until after launch before your game is worth playing, people are going to move on to the next big thing. Free-to-play multiplayer cannot be used as an excuse. Halo Infinite still needs to launch as a premium product, with every feature imaginable in a modern-day multiplayer game if it is going to succeed. It was also announced this past week that a support studio, Sperasoft, was brought in to assist with development with Halo Infinite. This could be spun in a positive light or a negative one. On one side, maybe bringing in another studio was necessary due to the unforeseen issues they ran into this year, but is more of a reassurance that the game is going to be polished and complete. Or if you're a glass half empty guy, maybe you see this as a last ditch effort to save a game that has had a shit show for a development cycle. I'm not gonna tell you what to think, and at the end of the day, it's not in our hands. All we can do is close our eyes and pray to the almighty Cortana. In regards to crossplay, 343 needs to make sure they get keyboard and mouse versus controller gameplay balanced. It has been a long debated topic in the Master Chief Collection, and in gaming in general now that crossplay has become popularized. Halo Reach and Halo 2 Anniversary suffered heavily from controllers having a pretty distinct advantage in my opinion. We saw Summit quit and never come back to MCC because of it, and the same will happen in Halo Infinite if 343 doesn't try to balance it as well as possible. It's obviously never going to be perfect. No one on controller is going to be able to 180 rocket you when being shot in the back, and keyboard and mouse players will always struggle in close to medium range gunfights due to aim assist. But 343's MCC response was to literally do nothing. They need to at least try with Halo Infinite. On the bright side, all the games in the MCC were made for controller play on an Xbox. Halo Infinite is being built from the ground up with PC players in mind. And all we can hope for is that 343 takes input balancing into account. And lastly, 343 cannot make the same mistake they did in Halo 5 regarding competitive tournament settings. For the first 2 years of Halo 5, the pros were forced to play vanilla settings when competing for millions of dollars. 343 was convinced that the best way to grow the competitive scene was to have the HCS players use the same settings as everyone else. This was a huge deterrent for people to continue putting time into the game and competing, and the player counts definitely suffered because of this. The fact is that they can't force pros to play with the same settings as everyone unless they design the game from the ground up as a competitive game only. But that's not what Halo is, and the casual side would suffer from this. If you look at games like Call of Duty, not only do they have CDL rules that ban certain items from competition, but the pros have gentlemen's agreements on top of that to not use items deemed not competitive, even though they are allowed per CDL rules. For the pro scene to succeed in Infinite, 343 needs to let Esports Arena come up with the most competitive settings possible within the sandbox, and keep them separate from the vanilla settings. I'm a little scared that 343 will still want to be in control and have the final say for HCS settings. Maybe they'll want to force pros to play with the new grapple hook on the map when the overall consensus is that it should be removed. 343 needs to be flexible and do what's best for the competitive scene. They cannot pull a Halo 5 and finally fold 2 years after release, once it's too late. And I think that's all I have for today. I'm sure there are plenty of things I missed or could have talked about in this video, but it's getting pretty long and most people probably clicked off anyway. If you somehow did make it to the end of the video, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please consider leaving a like. Likes help me get YouTube to push my videos to new people, which is honestly the hardest part about being a small creator. And if you think you'd be willing to watch more of my content, please consider subscribing. I'm trying to hit a personal goal of 1,000 subs before Halo Infinite, so it'd be greatly appreciated. We've actually been getting a lot of new subs lately, which is awesome, thanks so much, and I'm trying to just keep it rolling. But anyways, thanks again for watching, and I hope to see you in our next video. Later.